Hi, good morning. My name is Doris Fortson. My husband's name is Michael. And this is Neema House. Welcome to Neema House. Neema means grace, and it is by the grace of God that we're able to do this. And this little one is called Memusi. This is a baby home, and we have 28 babies here that are abandoned, orphaned, and at risk. So welcome. As we would say in Swahili, come in, welcome. We divide our babies up into 3 groups. We have our small babies in this room, and we have 8 little ones here from about 2 months to about 6 months in this room. Rahima? 9 babies. This is little Sarah. Sarah's about 4 months old. 5 months old. And we have a little one here. Maxine, who is very tiny. She's an abandoned baby. And she lost down to about 2.5 pounds. And most of our babies come from the hospital if their mother dies or if they've been left. And the hospital and the police will call us and we'll come pick up the babies. So I'm going to lay this one down and we'll show you the rest of the house. This is just for the small babies. Hey, hi Baraka. Hey, hey Baraka. All right. These are all very sweet little ones. This is Ebenezer. Ebenezer's mother died when he was born, and the father comes to visit him. He's not able to keep him. All right. And you can see our wall of our babies. Our object is to try to get them back home. If we can get them adopted out, we will do that. If we can return them to an aunt or a grandmother, we have about 4 of our babies who've gone home with their grandmother. We have their pictures. We have 3 shifts of nannies, a group of nannies that works in the day, a group of nannies that works at night, and then a group of nannies that are off, and then they shift. Our nannies are incredible. We love our nannies. This is one of the sleeping rooms. This room is for the crawlers, and my husband Michael designed all of these beds. Everything that you see in the house. Let's see who's here. Hey, Julius. I'll show you how these beds work. Oh, you're all right. My husband Michael designed these beds and had them made. Everything in this house, we rent this house, everything that you see in this house, he bought at garage sales or rummage sales or on like a Craigslist that we have here called Arusha Mailing. And some of the things like the washing machines and dryers he bought from town. But he outfitted this house completely with the generous help of many Christians in the U.S. So we're very grateful for that. I'll show you the next room. I know. This is the sleeping room for the toddlers. The little ones, when they start walking, they sleep in this room. We have mosquito nets on all of their beds. And we have the crawlers playroom right here. This is where the ones who are just starting to walk, like little Sarah there. Sarah's also an abandoned baby. You're doing so good, Miss Sarah. There's Riziki. We got Riziki when she was 12 hours old. And they sing songs and they work with them and they love them. Our babies are well fed and loved and cuddled all day long. Isn't that right?
How did you get to where you are now?
Well, Michael and I are retired. Michael was a Abilene Christian student in 1963, and he went on a safari for souls with 12 college boys. And he came to Tanzania. He lived in tents, lived out on the plains, and preached for 6 months, and fell in love with Tanzania, the country, and the work here. We lived here for 6 years as missionaries, and just loved it. But we went back home. Michael was a campus minister for 30 years in Nacogdoches. And then we moved to Temple, where Michael preached for 5 years. And then we retired. And we came back on a trip in 2008 with 2 of our children who were born here, just to see, just on a visit, a tour, to see how the country was, see what was left of the work that we had done in the 60s. And we began to see orphans and began to hear the stories of abandoned babies. And our son, who was with us, began to say, "Mom, you have to do something about this. You have to help." So, in 2011, we toured 3 countries. We toured Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and toured as many orphanages as we could. We toured about 22. We talked to directors, we talked to teachers, we stayed at the orphanages and found out what was going on. And what we learned was that in Tanzania there are about 3 million orphans. Tanzania is what we call a non-adopted country because you have to live here for 3 years before you can adopt, which basically stops all out-of-country adoptions. But we decided Tanzania was where we would come. Michael and I are retired. We are volunteers. We do not take a salary for what we do here. But God has gotten hold of our hearts with this. It's absolutely the most astounding thing to be able to pick up these little babies and go to the hospital and bring them here and then have them be healthy and happy and strong. And then to be able to put them back into Christian homes if we can, back with their families. Our purpose, our object is to work with these families. We have so many dreams and goals for Neema House. We rent this house and we're almost full. 30 is our capacity and we have 28. But we are hoping to buy property and build a home that will hold 60. We also want to build a mothering center because the babies are not the problem. Mothers who are poor and desperate and sometimes in a religion that would not look kindly upon girls who get pregnant out of wedlock, and so they get scared and they leave their babies. We've got some of our babies who were left on the roadside. We had 2 babies left on the road. We had 2 babies left in latrines. One was left in an open pit latrine and had been in there long enough that he had maggots growing in his ear. Had to have those surgically removed. We have one here right now, little Baraka, who was Paulisana, left in a house by himself for a few days in a dirty diaper that has damaged his skin. But he's going to be a healthy little boy now. We have babies who were left at the bus station. They were left on porches. We have one that was left in the grass in a front yard. And I can't tell you how thankful we are that God is letting us be a part of a work like this, to be able to help these babies. And I guess maybe when you ask the question, how did we get started on this? Maybe the deep reason is that I was raised in an orphanage myself. I went to an orphanage when I was 4 in Tipton, Oklahoma. And I lived there until I graduated from high school. And they sent me to Abilene Christian, where I said, "You'll never catch me in church again." I didn't want to have anything to do with religion. And God, in His infinite sense of joy, told me that we would that I would marry this little preacher boy and we'd spend the rest of our life in church, and I would love it, and we have. We've had a great time. We love campus ministry, but as I said, there's been nothing like this work with these babies. So I think God just works things out for you. The things that were hardest for you in your life, God seems to say, I'll work with that if you'll let me. And so I think He has. He's been able to work with me. And I have to tell you that this is a place of forgiveness and hope. We try not to judge the women who leave their babies. Hey, Julius, what's your problem, honey? We know that when they're poor and desperate, we can't even imagine what goes on with these mothers. So it's not our place to judge them. We're too busy taking care of the babies. We don't have time to judge. And so our place is simply to forgive and to give hope. And those are our mottos. This is a place of forgiveness and hope. So maybe that's why we do what we do. I have an absolutely incredible husband who supports this mission. We spend about 6 months here a year, and then we go home and we raise money. I tell people we're just beggars for Jesus. We go home and we speak to everybody that we can. We speak in churches, we speak at Rotary clubs, we speak at Lions clubs, and we tell people about the babies. And we try to get people to sponsor them so that we can support the home. It's very, very expensive to take care of babies. Most orphanages will not accept babies. Our formula bill is about $1,500 a month. So we spend a lot of time fundraising. And we also spend a lot of time bringing volunteers, recruiting volunteers from universities. We have an 82-year-old woman here right now who's volunteering. And you should see her with holding the baby. She says she's in hog heaven, is what she calls it. So we will take anybody who will come and hold the babies. Sometimes with our space, we're a little bit limited, but we love the volunteers to come and hold the babies. So I hope that's given you an idea of what we do here at Neema, and that you'll consider coming over. And thank you so much for listening.